Hey, Malia and Jeremy, thanks for reaching out to us. Hope you're doing well. Uh, Sorry, the day you reached out, Adam and I were headed to Mexico. Um, but I definitely had left myself a note and wanted to get you a thorough kind of analysis back. So I know we haven't dove into details, but you're just kind of thinking about investment. And so let me just at a 50,000 foot level share some of my experience with you, and hopefully you find this extremely helpful. So I'll just share my screen. I know this is very elementary and it's just a high level discussion, but um, I've done investing in virtually every asset class, and I've helped a lot of clients, learned a lot over the last 2 decades. And this is kind of how I break it down. Under the realm of residential investment, do you want a single family, condo, townhome, multifamily, or vacation rental? Under commercial, are you going to wholly own it or invest in a fund, and which asset class? Or would you be interested in doing hard money? I know I just typed these out, so that seems so elementary, but let's dive into them and I'll tell you the benefits and detriments of each. When it comes to residential right now, multifamily has been so ridiculously popular, which is good news, but also the bad news is that's made it insanely unaffordable. For example, if you were to try to, I'm sure you've looked, try to buy a duplex in your neighborhood, forget about it. It wouldn't even cash flow. You'd pay like 800,000, and each side probably rents for 2,000 a month. So brings in maybe 48,000 a year on 800. That, if it was all in cash minus your expenses, is probably a 4-ish% return. And I know I just made that up, but that is typical of what we're seeing in the market. Spence and I do own a lot of residential and multifamily. We've got an 8-plex on Westminster Avenue. We have 22 units downtown off North Temple. Okay, so I'm trying to keep this high level. So that's enough about that. Not to say you wouldn't want to do that, but right now that market's been insanely inflated. And that's probably the most competitive market to try to get into. As soon as people can step it up to about 2.5 million minimum on the buy of multifamily, so like a 12-plex or larger, then you start getting a little bit better returns, just because not everyone can play in that ballpark. But obviously you're taking on bigger risk, and most people won't let those properties go right now, simply because rents have risen so sharply and interest rates have been so low that investors have done phenomenal on multifamily. Right now, if you were to do a residential investment, and again, we can dive into details and I can give you data and analytics, but just suffice to say, I think probably the best residential investment right now is just to buy a single family home. Not that a condo or townhome wouldn't work, but there's a lot of, they appreciate just as well. People always have this misconception that a condo doesn't go up as much as a house. If the market's appreciating, they'll both go up about the same percentage. The difference is if the market's suppressed, you usually have a tougher time selling a condo or townhome, simply because you're in competition with everyone else in your complex and they all look the same. It's that simple. And so if there's a bank repo or a foreclosure, then that's going to affect your value. Whereas houses, even if your neighbor gets foreclosed on, it's unique. So it could hurt your value a little, but not as much as in a condo complex. So it still may not be a phenomenal return, but right now, a decent location family home can probably be bought for 500,000 to 600,000. And that, depending on condition and location, that could rent for probably 2,500 a month. So bring in 30,000 a year. That's a similar return to what we just went over in multifamily, but there's some benefits just having that single family home. The detriment is it's one home that would rent to one person. So when you have a vacancy, that really hits your pocketbook. All right, high level on vacation rentals. We know this very well. We were some of the in fact, we were the first people on Airbnb and VRBO up in the Eden area, zip code 84310, 14 years ago. I had to call them to establish that zip code. We had a big ski rental up there. In the early days, I'll tell you this, vacation rentals did phenomenal. When we were the only house up there on VRBO, we got lit up. We were charging $850 a night. It was like people who were sick of the paparazzi in Park City were coming over and renting our luxury house up there. But in 12 years, I was never able to raise rents. And when I sold 2 Novembers ago, there was 336 vacation rentals. Here's the rub. That market has gotten so damn popular and everyone wants to do it. And there's this dream that they can buy a ski property or a beachfront property and then rents will pay for it, that everyone's doing it. It's hyper competitive. So that's kept rents down. And now consumers are expecting much more of a hotel experience. So it's become an insane amount of management and cleaning and frustrated customers, which is why I sold our 2 Southern Utah vacation rentals and our ski rental, and we just went into long-term assets. It's not that it's bad. Here's where this would make the decision for you. If there's something you want to own, like a lot of people in Salt Lake want a place in St. George, which I have, I'm okay with that being a vacation rental, but don't expect to make a bunch of money on it. What you can expect is that it'll rent as much as you want, 70 to 100 nights a year, pay for itself, and you could kind of have a free place that way. And then it'll appreciate and all that stuff. So it's not that it's a bad investment strategy, but almost everyone I talk to about vacation rentals thinks they're going to make good cash flow and be able to use it. And the reality is it gets kind of beat up. So people get frustrated with their usage. And then it's a lot more management than like a long-term single family home that you just rent to one person. You're having constant turnover. You need to find a cleaning crew. You've got to manage rentals. You got to take credit cards, all that jazz. So we only want to explore that rabbit hole if there's something you really want to own that you want to vacation to, and then that's also kind of pays for itself. Commercial. Again, I'm keeping this all very high level, but I'm just helping you sift through how you might want to invest. In the commercial world right now, the hottest asset class is industrial. Everybody's talking about industrial, from storage units to large warehouses and things like that. Why? Because businesses are starting to even run out of industrial. So you don't need to buy really expensive office space. You just invest in, industrial. Maybe I'll just share my screen with you really quick. Probably since I last talked with you guys, I've been doing a lot more commercial, just kind of off the books. I don't think people really know about it, but these tabs down here are all of the commercial buildings that I have invested in over the past 6 or 7 years. Most of them are with my lender buddy, Josh Metal. And then these 2 are our residential apartments. So these are kind of the ways I track these deals. This is our kind of master spreadsheet. This is our 8-plex on Westminster. This is our 22 units downtown. This is a building on 3900 South, an office building we own. This is a medical building in St. George we own. This is a dental office out in Cottonwood Heights we own. We're buying a retail building right now that closes on December 10th, right in Silicon Slopes area, which everyone would tell you to avoid retail like the plague, but there are some good locations, and on and on. Point being, back to the high level here, these are usually large enough deals that no one's buying it themselves. For example, on the retail one, we're closing on December 10th. I think we've got 17 investors coming together right now to provide the down payment of about 6.5 million. And in simple terms, everyone is going to get a 7% return on year 1, no matter what. So 7% on their cash, and then a 9% on year 2. And then after 24 months, we'll see how the asset is truly cash flowing and readjust after that, and then do quarterly dividends to everybody. The benefit in that is you get cash on cash return, then you're also an owner and you get the appreciation. And Josh Metal, my business partner, his mother is doing all of our property management and his wife is doing all of our accounting. And then I do all the real estate and all of us discount our fees. So we've been insanely competitive, and people that have invested with us that understand other investment portfolio funds and strategies are really happy because we're small fries, and thus far we haven't charged a preferred return for us for assembling the deal. We get the real estate fees discounted because I out orchestrate that. His mom charges extremely minimally just to pay her 2 staff members for property management. His wife does all the accounting. So anyways, we're very, very competitive. And on all these deals, I can tell you, we've been between a 7 and 11% return thus far over about 6 years. So if you just had some money set aside and you wanted to just kind of turnkey invest, I could just let you know the next deal we come across. We're probably doing about 1 a year. So it's not like I'd have something really quick for you, but if you were, patient, you could gladly start learning about deals we're doing and then just choose one and invest. All right, lastly, so we did residential, commercial, and then, hard money. We have gotten into quite a bit more hard money lending. Again, our bread and butter is residential real estate sales, but we have 2 things going on. Internally at Utah Cribs, we're getting a pretty consistent clientele that need us to give them a hard money loan so they can buy their new house before they sell their old house. And we just have to bridge that gap for 30 to 60 days. It's kind of becoming a new way people are buying real estate. And some big companies were offering cash programs like Homey and Zillow. It comes with all these strings attached. So we just started telling our clients, yeah, we'll do that too. You need $300,000 while we get you your new place until we sell your old place. We'll bridge that gap. So we've been charging pretty competitive, about 10% and 2 points on that money. And some of our choice clients are investing into that fund. So, you can put 100, 200, 300,000 in. And even when that money is not in play working with a client, we're able to turn it pretty quick and just let you know when the next deal comes up. And so you're probably averaging an 8 to 10% return there. I also have a guy that does this full-time, Northern Utah only does deals that are leveraged at 70% or less, and loans hard money to a lot of these flippers. And he's connected with all the main guys in Salt Lake. I have 2 high net worth clients that I've introduced to him that have money with him that really understand this game. They've owned mortgage companies and they love this guy. His name is John Hunt. He's a young, sharp, tech-driven kid that's super organized, and he's never had a default or foreclosure in 8 years. He had one situation that they did have to take all these assets back, but avoided foreclosure, got the hard money guy to just turn them into him, and he didn't miss a blip. He still paid off all the investors, their full funds and on time. He crosses his T's, he dots his I's, and he can, depending on what you go into, he can usually get you 8 to 10% and 1 point as well. The downfall with doing hard money investing versus some of the other stuff we talked about buying is you don't get any tax benefit on those because you're not owning any real estate. So you don't have any depreciation. You can't 1031 your interest that you're making, but it's probably a 3 or 4% and maybe even a point when you give the money, which is another 1%, better return than you're going to find on anything you buy in real estate. Okay, that's probably fire hosing with you a lot of information, but those are the kind of 3 umbrellas of investment strategies you could have in the world of real estate. Of course, all of them have little intricacies, but that's a big overview for you. So if you can, just reply to this video and let me know what questions you have and let me know what you're trending or thinking, and I'll just try to help advise you from there. All right, guys, have a great day. We will talk to you later. Thanks for your patience.